they're not gonna make it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da. What? Wanna feel? Yeah, running for them light. But man, I'm on no ear. Yeah. Hey, Miami Heat. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Mo, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, my problem is now I can't see you.
Well, that's weird because I see you just fine. I see you perfectly with your fresh cut salad hat on. You got a jacket on with something red hoodie or something underneath.
No. I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt. I'm holding a glass up now with an umbrella in it. It's the sun hadn't quite gone down here yet. I'm over in the Pacific.
French Polynesian Islands.
There you go. Now I can see you. Hot dog. How are you, Mo?
I'm doing fantastic. So, unfortunately, today, by popular demand, I have been asked to speak on current events.
Now you're breaking up on me.
Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, first of all, I just want to apologize for my tardy, everybody. I have been asked by popular demand to talk about the fortunate or unfortunate current events that are happening around the world. To start with, let's just jump right into it. It has been brought to my attention about the Russian missiles that struck and killed a NATO member over in Poland. Anybody heard anything about that? Feel free to comment. I am taking comments today. We are going to talk about a few things. Your take on that whole thing, Mr. Guest, your thoughts. Go ahead.
Well, that is news to me, and that could be very bad because NATO has what's called, somebody check me on this, but I think it's called Article 5 of their agreement. And any attack on any NATO country is considered an attack on all NATO countries. So was this missile sent on purpose, or did it get away from them and just went the wrong way?
They fired 2 missiles and at Poland, and in the process, a NATO member was killed. As far as the understanding goes, that is what's happening.
Okay, when you say NATO member, a citizen of Poland or a NATO operative?
It was an American NATO person that was struck over in
killed
Poland.
in Poland.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what that does is that triggers their agreement. All NATO nations have an agreement with one another that says an attack on one is an attack on all. So if this gets verified, which I'm sure they're busy verifying it, if it gets verified, then it's game on. That means it's NATO versus Russia, and that is not going to be pretty. It could be World War III, unless Russia, they could advance the idea that, we didn't mean to send that. It got the guidance system went bad or something, and we didn't mean to hit you. Hopefully, the diplomats are talking about it before we strike back. But remember, we had aircraft carriers in the Adriatic Sea, which is striking distance of Russia, with our planes. And we've got an entire division, or did an entire division of the airborne on the ground, I think either in Poland or in Romania, one of the two. So no, that's really bad news. Where did you hear that?
So apparently I was surfing TikTok with a friend of mine, and he sent me a link. I checked the link and I said, no, this can't be. And then I went and another friend of mine, because I told you I'm part of that digital arts movement that's going on. And so people reach out to me with different things because they know I do a podcast, and they're like, hey, are you talking about this? And I said, about what? Well, I know you guys talk about this type of stuff that goes on worldwide. And at one point the guy was like, I know you talk about religious stuff. And I said, first of all, don't ever disrespect me. I am not a religious person. I am not a religious person, but I get your meaning. So yeah, I didn't do full thorough research, but then of course my buddy Superman and I talked, and he had heard it, and he called me. Now Soup calls me, it's pretty serious. And we started talking about the biblical sense of wars, talk of wars, and rumors of wars. And so my question was, because I hadn't done thorough 100% research, the only research I'd done is had anyone else heard about this, was, is this a talk of war, or is this a rumor of war, or is it both? At which point Soup brought a great point. He's supposed to be joining us here. He brought up an excellent point as far as there being a civil war, world war, and what was the other war he mentioned? It was a civil war, a world war, and there was something else that he brought up. And I said, well, the Bible says it's going to be a great many things. It's going to be a great many bloodshed and stuff like that. It's a whole lot. And I said, that seems to be a revolutionary. There he is. He's not in the building, but he's in the building. There he is. Soup, what's up, baby? I just need my man D Dangler to join us too. Finding out where he's at. But yeah. So, somebody hitting me for beats in the middle of my podcast. Hang on a second.
Okay, can you see this?
Hang on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. I got people soliciting me for beats.
Okay, so
go ahead.
I'm not going to hold this up here very long, but I just want to show you. I am contacting our friend in Croatia to see if she's heard this.
What does that say? Hold it steady. Okay. Yeah. I see it.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, by the way, is there any way we can get in touch with Shooter or whatever his name? What's his name? Scooter? Boomer. Yeah. Can we get in touch with Boomer again? Can you have him log in? I'd like to have him part of this conversation as well. I am very anxious to hear his take.
Can you read that or not?
So this is a response. This is pretty quick. I cannot hear.
No. This is my question.
Okay, then read it out to me because you're holding it up. Hold it down.
Okay, so it says, have you heard that a Russian missile hit Poland and killed an American? We are hearing this. I just sent that. So it's 7 hours ahead of us. What time is it now? So it's morning over there. So that news ought to be hitting the airwaves over there. We'll see if we get a response. And I don't know if she's up yet or not. I don't know what time she gets up, but we'll see during the program whether or not we get an answer.
Given her line of work, she's probably already up.
Yeah, if this is a true story, yeah, it's really serious stuff.
Yeah,
it's really serious stuff. It's not good, and It is biblical. I think all of this that we're experiencing nowadays is
Oh, by the
is
way, this just
foreshadowed.
in. I stand corrected. This just in. It's what I did say was 2 Russian missiles, and they killed 2 Polish citizens, not American. But so the understanding is Poland is NATO territory, correct?
That is correct.
And I am also told it is 100% true. It's all over the news. Doug, you want to do some research on that, Mr. Guest?
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'm having some chicken noodle soup homemade because it's in the 30s here in Leander, Texas, and it's damn cold. Soup, are you going to be joining us via the panel, or are you just going to be shouting messages at us? I mean, I'm taking comments today, but I'm just saying. Also, try to get a hold of Boomer, please.
Hey, I'll text him.
I need to hear from Boomer because I know Boomer has more insight. He shared some stuff with me on YouTube and everything like that. He sent me some fantastic stuff, some incredible reads and stuff like that. And so this guy's really deep into it. I thought Soup was into it. Soup and him would really get along. That's fine, Soup. I see you. When you're ready to jump in, you jump right on in, brother. No, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I am not going. I am not going anywhere anytime soon.
What do you want to say?
Okay, I just sent a text to Boomer, asked him to call me. No, well, that's not good news at all. Not at all. They had a drone that flew from the direction of Russia. They don't know for sure where, but it came from the direction of Russia and crashed in Zagreb. This is the capital of Croatia, and exploded when it hit the ground, but it didn't kill anybody. And this happened, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 months ago at the start of the war. And nothing ever came of it because there was no death. There was injury. I mean, there was property damage, but no death. So Boomer's on the line here. Hey, Jonathan.
Hey, Dougie. What's going on, man?
Well, Mo is on the podcast at the moment. He just asked me a question, and he asked if I could call you and see if you've heard anything. So we're hearing that a Russian missile crashed in
2 Russian missiles. 2 missiles.
2 Russian missiles crashed in Poland and killed 2 Polish citizens. Have you heard anything?
Confirmed.
That's an affirmative?
Yes, sir.
So what's the story? What do you know about it?
Well, as far as I've seen so far, they just attacked over there. I'm guessing. I have no clue on why they did it. As of this point, right now, I've been looking more into the flu vaccine or flu shots. Since 2019, they've been putting in the vaccine. So whoever took the D vaccine, I'm sorry, I'm just a little pissed off about it.
Well,
But over there, that's just going to keep escalating and escalating. And then also our farmlands over here, everybody's buying them out. Right now, they're making taxes so high for the farmlands, they ain't going to be able to pay those farmlands, so they're going to end up losing our farmlands. And
yes, I saw that. That's a fact. I saw that
I have a whole
going on.
bunch of crap from. It's real bad. It's so bad. All I can say is you better be preparing and get to know your Lord Jesus Savior, man. Just wow.
Yeah, I hear you. The idea of a Russian missile or two Russian, Poland is very serious because the country, and the NATO countries have an agreement that if you hit one, it's the same as hitting all of us. And so NATO must respond. And before this, see, we've sent a bunch of weapons, but NATO has not done anything other.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, what's going on here? They're trying to cut stuff off, huh? Mr. Guest. Stand by, y'all. We're gonna bring it back. See the soup in the kitchen. Mr. Guest. See what's happening. In the meantime, let's play some music real quick, shall we? What you mean, Mo? Oh, yeah. You want to play some music, Mo? Yeah, why not? Let's play a little music. We haven't played no music in a minute. Uh-oh, wait. Are we back? Are we back intact?
Got to be careful for sure.
All right. So real quick, guys. So this just in. We got Scoot in the building. Do we have Scooter in the building?
Who's Scooter? You talking about Boomer?
That's what I meant. Boomer.
Boomer. Hey, Scooter. Boomer. Boomer, Scooter. No, it's Boomer. Jonathan.
Boomer, yeah. So here, this just in. So it turns out
he is on my phone and he can hear you, and he confirmed that the Russian missiles did in fact hit Poland.
So this is what's happening so far. This just in. So the message is that they were attacking the electric grid of Ukraine with a huge barrage of missiles, and two happened to go astray and hit Poland. So that's what happened. That's what happened. Are you guys getting that? Did you guys get that?
The connection that I'm getting from you, Mo, is sketchy. It's just in and out, man.
Of course it is. Of course it is. they don't want this talked about. Anyway,
I mean, when the world comes to an end, that's what it's going to be, a communication problem.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing. Well, first of all, to elaborate on that, it's already a communication problem. What do I mean? There's things that people are saying, and there's shit that they don't want to hear. And if they don't like what you're saying, click. They kind of hang up the proverbial thing and leave you with that dial tone. But back to what I was saying is, so they were supposedly, the Russians were supposedly attacking the Ukraine electric grid with a barrage of missiles, and two went astray and happened to hit Poland. So that's what's happening. And so now half of Kiev is without power as we speak. Also, this just in, it's understood that they're going to enact Article 4 first, and then perhaps Article 5. Your thoughts on
what
that?
What is Article 4?
I think that's the NATO thing before. That's the debate before the war. Remember, there must be the debate.
Okay.
Okay. So I see. Boomer. He's in on the comments. So I was good. I wanted to have him on the panel, but yeah. Well, by the way, I'm taking the comments. I'm reading comments. So any comments? Yeah.
So if Boomer is on the comments, I should take him off my phone because I'm getting feedback, right?
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. As long as he can hear me, that's fine.
So you can hear him, Boomer?
Yeah, I got y'all on the YouTube here.
Okay, well I'm gonna hang up the phone because I'm hearing everything twice.
You're good.
Talk to you later. Well, I guess Boomer can hear us talk. So
okay.
So Article 4 is the debate and Article 5 is the action. Is that what you're saying?
I think it's the debate. It's the meeting before Article 5. Article 5 is probably where they're like, okay, we're going to kick some ass. We're all in agreement. We're going to go kick some ass.
Yeah, well, that's not good. That's really not a good turn of events.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, what other questions do I got in? I appreciate the questions. I've been saying this for a long time. There's it's all people thought it was a conspiracy, that I was a conspiracy theorist, that it's all part of the Chinese Russian plan. Potentially Japan is included on this as part of a ploy to, hey, that's crazy, because Soup and I were just talking about this. So basically Soup mentioned about what's that, divide and conquer, and this guy's saying similar to the same thing: spread us thin, wear us out until we're depleted, and then make their move against America. And so we were talking about that. Boomer, your thoughts? Doug, Mr. Guest, your thoughts? Go ahead.
Well, I hesitate to point out that the president of the United States just went to China just a couple days ago. So what did they talk about?
Of course he's in China.
What was that discussion?
What are you eating, and do you have enough for the rest of the class?
You were eating, I get to eat.
Hey, two wrongs don't make a right, man. That's all I'm saying. So, Gracie, are you going to let him handle me like that, Gracie? Where are you at, Grace?
Grace is asleep. She doesn't like this talk of war.
So this just in, we have stuff going to North Korea, Russia, and to Thailand. First of all, what the hell does Thailand have to do with it? And why North Korea of all places? Go ahead. I see. So it's about using nuclear weapons and how not to cross a certain line. And what would happen if they crossed that line, if they invaded Taiwan. So I've heard bits and pieces of the whole Taiwan what's it, incursion? Is that the word, incursion? Anyway, what is that all about? What's going on in Taiwan? Fill me in on that. I want to get all the information on that as far as that's concerned.
Okay, my understanding on Taiwan is that Taiwan and Hong Kong both have an agreement with China that they're going to have one government, Chinese government, but these satellite countries, or satellite, I don't think country is the right word, Hong Kong and Taiwan, China considers them Chinese territory, but they've allowed them to have their own government.
Okay.
Now, in Hong Kong, not too long ago, they had student riots and so on and so forth, and the Chinese came and they suppressed that. They put a bunch of people in jail. There was a prominent Chinese newspaper publisher who was jailed because he was supporting Hong Kong. And so these countries considered to be Chinese territory are constantly talking about independence. Well, China they don't tolerate that. These are their colonies, their satellites, and they don't want to give them up because they're cash cows. Both Hong Kong and Taiwan are very prosperous.
Right.
They generate a lot of manufacturing and they create a lot of wealth, and China doesn't want to give that up. So the United States does saber rattling. Sending Nancy Pelosi over to Taiwan was saber rattling. That was a message to China. Hey, we'll do what we want to do. China responded by having war games, and they got into Taiwan airspace and flew their planes and sent their ships and all this kind of stuff. Well, the United States responded by doing the same thing. So both sides are saber rattling. That's never a good thing because saber rattling is a precursor to war. And one of the things that Biden talked about when he was meeting with the president of China was that we're going to support Taiwan. And China responded by saying, we consider that an act of war. Now, not in so many words, but I mean, China has made a very clear point. Leave us alone and leave our satellite countries alone. Now, I don't know if you can call them countries, but well, I guess they are. I mean, they've got their own government. So I'm ignorant about their political system. But the bottom line is Americans, we need to be very careful where we're rattling sabers, because we've already poked the bear with Russia. Russia invaded Ukraine, but then we fed Ukraine $100 billion worth of weapons so that you were poking the bear. I mean, what do you want? A fight? That's
Right.
And Mo, you can tell us about that. You know, the days that you were in the bars and people would pick out the biggest guy in the room and they'd try to pick a fight with him.
Yeah.
You've been through that. And what do you eventually do?
Yeah. You know what I mean?
One
over the other. That's it.
You hit the guy and he gets hit twice. Once when you hit him and once when he hits the ground.
Yep.
So we don't need to be doing this with Russia or China. We don't need a war. But the military-industrial complex demands that we sell weapons. So that's what we've got to do. You know, all of these politicians that are bought and paid for by the military-industrial complex, they're hawks, they're saber rattlers, they're warmongers, and who gets killed in the process? Whoever we attack, and then our boys, our people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just wrong.
Not to mention the innocents in the middle, caught in the middle. So
Well,
this
I
just
heard-
in. This just in. So to answer your statement, yeah, to agree with your statement, Soup says, yeah, we also sent naval ships there as well. Yes, that's true. Boomer mentions the Article 4 is the parties will consult together whenever, in the opinion of any of them, the territorial integrity, political independence, or security of any of the parties is threatened. And then another comment is, we need this war. We need a reset. Our government is so corrupt. It's time for a change, in my opinion. Continue your thoughts, Mr. Guest, on both those statements. Your thoughts, your rebuttal.
Well, I disagree. I disagree with the "we need the war" part. I'm not sure who's saying that, but anybody that is promoting war has never had anything to do with war.
Well,
War is
just remember,
nasty business. Nasty business.
Just remember, you quoted the old statement. We need a good civil war to keep or was it the bloodshed to keep our country honest?
Okay, that was our founding fathers. They said the tree of liberty needs to be watered with the blood of patriots every 20 years.
Yes,
something like that.
So
yes, that's blood. But fighting Russia or fighting China or fighting North Korea is not going to increase the freedom in this country.
I see what you're saying.
It's going to create things like the Patriot Act, which we're already under. It's going to mean that our young people are going to be drafted and sit off to die in foreign lands. It means that we're going to be spending more and more money. And for what? What do you gain? What do you get out of that? Nothing. The only people that benefit from that are the corporations that sell guns and bombs and bullets and planes and ships and
tanks and all that. Yeah.
You know, and the bankers. And the average American people are not warmongers. I mean, when we went to the Middle East, remember the shock and awe thing? We managed, who knows what the figures are accurately, but there's organizations that have counted. We managed to kill 1 million civilians in Iraq. Now let that sink in. That's blood on the hands of the United States of America. We killed 1 million people. Now, what did we do when we kill those people? We created a lot of terrorists, because if somebody comes in and kills your family and you live, what are you going to do for the rest of your life?
Right.
You're going to get even. You're going to work as hard as you can.
You're going to die trying. So let's take a couple comments before we finish those thoughts. Love the thoughts, love the interaction. So following Russian invasion of Ukraine in late February, NATO members Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland triggered Article 4. Along with Slovakia, Hungary, and Romania, those countries are part of the eastern flank of NATO, which has been reinforced with thousands of troops from NATO members. Also, Article 4 is different from Article 5 of the NATO Charter. The latter lays out the military assistance by the entire alliance. Let's see. Should one of the member states get attacked, being Poland in this moment, and maybe potentially the Ukraine. The only time that Article 5 was used was in 2001 After Al-Qaeda attacked on the U.S., which killed more than 3,000 people when the U.S. then attacked Afghanistan, NATO sent a mission alongside. And then another comment, either way, our government is tyrannical. And then followed by the NATO treaty only applies to member states. Given that Ukraine is not part of the alliance, it can trigger neither Article 4 nor 5. Now continue your thought process there, Mr. Guest. Go ahead.
Stand by.
Standing by, Roger.
How do we know that the missiles that are said to come from Russia actually came from Russia? How do we know that the Ukrainians didn't capture some missiles because they're in the process of pushing the Russians out of certain regions in Ukraine, and they launched that missile at Poland in an effort to drag Poland into the war? That's a possibility. Okay, now when has that ever happened before? Well, the invasion of Pearl Harbor was well known to the British government, and yet they let it happen. And there's some belief that FDR even knew that it was going to happen. Why would England want us to get attacked? Well, because they needed an ally. The United States was neutral up until December 7th, 1941. So by allowing the Japanese to attack Pearl Harbor and sink our ships and kill our people, gosh, within 2 days, we had a declaration of war against both Germany and Japan. So it is possible that this false flag, that these missiles are launched out of Ukraine into Poland in order to drag Poland into it. If you drag Poland into it, you drag NATO into it. That's just a possibility. We don't know. Maybe it came from Russia, but why would Russia do that? Why would Russia want NATO to respond? And it is true. Ukraine is not a NATO country. That's why so far NATO troops are not on the ground.
Why are American troops on the ground though in Ukraine?
Uh,
How do we offer? So my thing is it's kind of the question I asked last week. The guy that explains the differences of the different types of pedophilia without sounding like a pedophile. How do you offer support without looking like you're assisting the enemy in a conflict that you go
Why
ahead?
did we have U.S. military advisors in Vietnam before we ended up with U.S. troops there? I mean, they were U.S. military troops, advisors advising the South Vietnamese.
Right.
And then lo and behold, it wasn't long. We had a full-blown war without a declaration. Advisors are a precursor to bringing boots on the ground. And I'm opposed to it. I am not in favor of any kind of aggressive war. Now, there is an argument that in World War II, there were a lot of people, probably like me, I wasn't born yet, but probably like me, that said, well, it's not our fight. When Germany is invading different places, it's not our fight. Okay. And because people stayed back and didn't fight, Germany was able to do a lot of damage. So were the people who were promoting peace, were they wrong? They might have been. They might have been. I mean, 65 million people died in World War II on all sides. 65 million.
Yeah.
Now, had the United States jumped in the war at the beginning, maybe we could have saved some of those lives. I don't know. I mean, and is that the case here? We've been, what is this, November? So we've been in, or Russia's been in Ukraine for 10 months now, 11 months. And what have we done? We sent $100 billion. Other countries have sent money, but it's mainly the United States. Is it right or wrong? I don't know. We need to have a debate. Our Constitution says you don't go to war unless you have a congressional declaration of war. And that means you have to have a debate. So let's have a debate. None of this business of mission creep where they just drag us in slowly.
Yeah.
That's what I see going on here. This is dragging us in slowly.
Let's take some more comments real quick. Let's check it out. There's some agreement with you as part of your question. How do we know the Ukrainians didn't send the missiles just to drag people into the war? We don't. is a comment. How do we know how do we know Russian is in the wrong? We don't know if Russia is in the wrong at the moment. We're just going off of what we hear because, somebody's got to be the bad guy. We do have boots on the ground in Ukraine. Yes, I know. We mentioned that. Jersey Allen, what's going on, baby? What's up? What's happening? We are in the building talking about the potential. We're talking about biblical stuff as far as talks of war and rumors of war in the book of Revelation. As part of my rant for today, there's a lot of stuff going on. The topic for today, for those of y'all that had asked, sorry, I was talking about why is it that the world wants to wait till it's almost like the world's got this sick, twisted infatuation with the book of Revelations. It's almost like people wants to see what it would look like. Here's the craziness though with it. Is they go about it like they're gonna sit somewhere in some safe room, some safe house, watching the world come to an end. That's crazy. Oh yeah, most of my lives now are been story time where I've been reading books, but right now we're talking about current events and stuff going on in the world. So that's kind of where I am at right now. But what was I saying? Yeah. So now all of a sudden, the thing that kind of bothers me is I'm hearing everybody now talking about repent, turn away from sin, and we're running out of time and get right with God and all this and that. Why all the hoopla now that all this supposed biblical stuff in the end of the book in Revelations is happening? Now everybody wants to get right. And it takes me back to a dream. I see the little Russian missile that you got there. And it was at that moment.
I dropped it.
Yeah. And so all of a sudden it's a mushroom cloud over Canyon Lake. So no, but my whole thing was I was a kid. I was about 22 years old, and I had this vision in my sleep. This is the one time I took a nap in the daytime. I was way too active and too busy to take naps. But this time I took a nap. And in this nap, I had a vision in my dream. I had a dream. I was back in high school, Liberty High School, Bethlehem, PA. Go Hurricanes. Let's go. Anyway, it's the homecoming game. We are getting ready for the old pep rally and everything. It's a Friday. We're turning up. I mean, it is all good in the hood, right? And we get on the bus, we're hooping and hollering, we're high-fiving, shucking and jiving, talking shit about the parties at my place after school and everything when all this was said and done. Later that day, school is out. Everybody's making preparations. People are going to go home for last-minute changes and stuff like that so we can come back for the game. Football players are going to come back early after school. They're going to come back. That's how we used to do it. Go home and then come back early or we'd stay after school and hang around and be ready for the game, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it turns out I get back on the bus and everybody is well behaved. I'm talking everybody's seated 2 by 2 in each bus seat, quiet all the way from the front of the bus to the back of the bus. I get on. I'm loud and boisterous. I'm hooting and hollering, trying to high five and everything. And everybody's sitting there talking about they're doing this and they're kind of, motioning towards the bus driver. And I talked about this in my last podcast or the podcast before. Actually, it was the one before. And I look behind me and I look at the bus driver and then I continue. I'm like, yo, man. So yo, after all this, man, the party's at my house, man, boop, 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 boop. Because that's who I was in high school. I was the guy, Sharif had the parties at the high school, at my apartments on Keystone Ave, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, on the west side. Chilling. These people are still gesturing. Yo, man, kill that. Yo, man, the bus driver, I look at the bus driver and I go, oh, him? I go, don't change now. I go, I always knew who that was. I've been knew who that was. See, the bus driver was God. Well, he was God when he picked us up that morning and everybody showed their ass. And when everybody found out that he was God, they changed up. They switched up and started behaving themselves. But the thing about it is I wasn't worried because I had already knew that was God and I was already right with God. So I had nothing to fear. What am I trying to say? Well, let me finish my rant. And I'm taking comments. I see you, Jersey. I'm going to mention your comment in a minute. We'll talk about that. Just give me a second. Let me finish my rant here, my story. The dream was a message to me. I'll give another analogy to explain the dream better. Mom and dad leave town. People have heard me say this before. You know what I'm saying? A lot of kids, when their parents leave town, what do? They invite everybody over. They throw a big smashing party at the house and all this and that, right? And hurry and see if they can get it cleaned up and everything before mom and dad gets back. Well, if you don't partake in that, when mom and dad get home, you don't have anything to worry about, right? That's my point. So this is the thing that bothers me about the end of the world. Everybody's talking about get right with God, get right so you could get raptured up, confess your sins and do right and choose God. Choose God now that you're worried about something going wrong. Now you want to choose God. Now you want to get right with God. I think that's fake. I think that's fake rhetoric, bunch of bullshit. You should get right with God anyway. And what to explain my point more, they speak of the end of the world like it's something bad. Well, fuck yeah, it's something bad for the children that threw a party when mom and dad weren't home. What about the obedient children that were choosing God in Christ all along? All the people that were obedient to God, right? All the people that believed in God, accepted Christ as their Lord and Savior, according to the Bible, and did what they were supposed to do. The end of the world should be welcomed by them. It should be a welcoming, a homecoming party. The end of the world. Well, why wouldn't you want the end of the world? According to the Bible, Christ promised a new heaven and a new earth, right? In a life of eternity. So you live forever in a perfect world, in a better world. Well, why the hell wouldn't you want this world to end? Because it said that all things should pass away. So wouldn't we want this to pass away? A world with no more hate, murder, death, sickness, racism. I mean, people not identifying with this, all this delusion and lies. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, who doesn't want that? Why wouldn't you want that? I mean, why would you want to keep that? Why wouldn't you want the world to come to an end? I say, let the world come to an end. If God is going to burn this place down to the ground, I'm hoping that I am the child that didn't throw the party. So when God comes, I don't got shit to worry about. If you are changing to be righteous with God because you fear his wrath, that's not being righteous to God. You just fear his wrath and you're trying to act like you're right. That's phony. The children of God are always the children of God, and the wrath of God doesn't worry them. You know what I mean? They're not worried about the wrath of God. If they didn't do anything to incur it, those of you that have siblings, right? My analogy continues. You have a sibling. Your sibling does something fucked up, and you had nothing to do with it. And they know when dad gets home, oh, it's that ass, right? Your sibling ain't worried. Your sibling go play the game, do what they do. You getting your ass toe up. Man, we should stick together. No, stick together my ass. We didn't stick together when you stole those cookies and went into dad's room and stole money from his wallet. We weren't together. You didn't share that money or them cookies. Now you want to share the ass whooping. Nah, I'm good. Appreciate it. No, thank you. No. Now the world wants to get ready. We're running out of time. I appreciate those people that are trying to spread the word. I say do what you got to do. But what I don't like is the same thing with these Christians out here being Christian-y. Everybody's sitting there pointing the fingers and doing this and that, and you spreading the wrong message about God. And you got people that when you open your mouth, the more you talk, the less people are interested in God. That's not the way we should be doing it. And the end of the world should be a welcoming thing. We should be happy that the end of the world is coming, that the end of all this hate and death and sickness and stench and people genetically modifying people and messing with the food and cloning and all this shit. People, all this is funny. Nobody believes in the Bible or God, but they believe so much in disproving it. How can you disprove something that doesn't exist? Okay, and there ends my rant. Let's take some comments real quick. Blah, 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 blah. The Antichrist is more than one man or woman. Mr. Guest, you want to respond to that?
I don't know. I'm not a scholar. I don't know anything about that. I will comment about what you said.
Okay, go ahead.
You're absolutely right, Mo. If you're only good when people are watching you,
yeah,
then you're not good. You should be good all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And how do I define good? I mean, look at the 10 Commandments. Those same things are listed in probably every religion in the world. Very similar.
One way or the other.
There's certain things that just shouldn't be done. Okay, as in a society, as if you're out there by yourself, do what you want. But if you're living among others, then it's not a good idea to steal. It's not a good idea to murder. So just don't do those things. Yeah. And if you don't do those things, you end up
other people's wives and stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
You end up being a good person. So if you believe that, do it now. Don't wait. You know, there's no reason that you at the last minute you can say, "Oh, well, I didn't mean it." I mean, you've seen little kids do that when they're getting in trouble. That's what you're talking about on the bus.
Yeah.
You know, at the last minute, heck, everybody's nice.
Yeah.
We would live in a better world if people believe that. And you know, I'm not here to make them believe or disbelieve. That's not my calling.
Not our job. Our job is to scatter seed, and on fertile soil, you will get harvest. On rocky soil, you will not. And that's what the job is. And I think that that's what being a true Christian is. See, they try to get in here and try to force gays by getting into standoff arguments with gays about their lives being right or wrong. If somebody just jumped in your face and told you your whole life is wrong, you're going to hell, you're going to die, and they start speaking all this stuff, you don't want to hear what they have to say. You're gonna deflect, and you're gonna return their aggression with your own aggression. That's not the Christian way, or the disciple way. Also, in the word disciple, you might say that it derived from the word discipline. There's discipline in the word disciple. Just saying, I think there's a type of discipline that has to come about. You know, when you're a person that's representing God Almighty, you say you're the word of God Almighty. You're speaking on God's behalf as a believer of Christ. I'm a believer. I'm not a Christian. I'm not religious. I think religion is a human construct that was created to weaponize God, to scare people into staying in their little petting zoos or their little petting cubicles, keep us, in check. And I don't agree with that. I'm sorry. I don't care who gets pissed off, whether you're Catholic, Mormon, Seventh-day Adventist, Lutheran. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't agree with that. If you look, first of all, if you talk about God and you talk about love, and then somebody says, well, I'm a different religion and this is what my God, and you want to kill that man, then you just completely undermined and completely, you know what I'm saying? What's the word? When you say something and then you do something different. You do something. What is that? What is that? What is that? What is that word?
I know what you're saying. I can't think of it.
So it's contradict. That's a contradiction. You just contradicted your own God. You preach love and peace and everything, and then somebody disagrees with you, and then you go to war with them. You want to kill them. You want to fight because you think you're more chosen than the other. Well, where's the love and peace in that? Where's the you know what I mean? And that's where discipline comes in. And this is why I don't agree with religion, and I don't fall into that bullshit. The problem with Christianity is people are too busy being Christian. And Christ wasn't a Christian, nor were his followers. They were disciples, and disciples were students that were taught a discipline. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear a karate student known as a karatean. They're you know what I'm saying? They follow what do they call it? They follow karate. A karate is a martial art discipline, right? And they're students of that discipline. If you look at it from a martial arts, it's a discipline. Brazilian jiu-jitsu or any kind of jiu-jitsu, Roman Greco wrestling, and you follow a certain type of discipline. And what it is it's the same thing with being a believer of Christ. Christ says this is the way we should live, and this is the way we should teach how you should live. What is it? Instead of fishing for one man, what is it? You teach one man, you fish for all of us, right? You scatter seeds. If you plant one seed, you may or may not get a tree, but if you scatter seeds, you're going to have a harvest. You know what I mean?
I think it says if you feed a man a fish, you feed him for one day, but if you teach him to fish, you feed him for a lifetime.
Yeah. So that coincides with what I was saying, but I'm talking about, you can't expect a whole lot of movement if you only plant one seed. But if you plant a bunch of seeds, you scatter seeds, you're going to have a harvest. You get what I'm saying? Because if you plant that one seed, that soil may or may not be fertile. You may not reap anything from that seed. But if you scatter seeds and you land, your chances of landing on fertile soil is much greater. You stand a much greater chance of having a harvest to reap. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what you do. You don't just stop to talk to one group of people, gays or anything. You talk to everybody, and you don't attack them, and you don't throw God down their throat and shove God up their behinds. You don't do any of that. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. And I'm sick and tired of watching people try to, because it's like, are you sorry because you're really sorry that you did wrong? Or are you sorry because you got caught doing wrong? Now Christ has come, and he's not that lamb of God that you remembered on Christmas Day, born in the manger. Oh, that bullshit. No. Now this God is fire and brimstone, okay? And he means business. And if you are not his child, you're not one of his, you're going to be on the bad end of that flaming sword. Do you understand what I'm saying? You understand? And so that's what I'm saying. Now, if people are saying, listen, we still have time, we still have some time, we don't have a lot of time, please consider, at least consider. I saw one person, I think I was watching a TikTok, and this person said it was exactly like how I used to say it before. I would tell people, man, listen, you don't have to agree with everything I'm saying, but at least give yourself a chance. At least give yourself a chance and just try it. Take a sip of this happy juice that I'm on and find out why I feel the way I feel. I'm not going to shove God down your throat. I'm not going to force you to believe in God or anything like that. All I'm saying is, why is Mo? I know Mo. And Mo been talking about this stuff for a minute, and he's been chill. He's been quiet. You don't hear much of Mo anymore. I'm laid because all that other stuff that I used to do, I'm not interested in that shit no more. All that craziness and fighting and knocking dudes out and all that. I got people I let pass. Now, my old self hold grudges. And the kind of stuff that I've let slide in the past couple of years, I would have been in prison right now. And that lets you know that is discipline. Oh, it takes everything to really forgive and let go. See, there's a reason for that. There's something that's come over me. Well, why don't you find out for yourself, man? I told them 2 weeks ago on my last podcast, I said, God isn't something that you can explain. God is something that you experience. And the only way you can experience something is you got to get into it. You got to try it. You got to check it out. Hey, man. At one point, we were scared of sex. We were virgins. We talked a good game to our homeboys until that girl pulled us in the back room, and we don't really know. We got to put where our mouth is, right? We don't know. You know what I'm saying? All that talk, we got to put our talk where our mouth is now, huh? And now she means business, and she come get these cookies. And you don't know what to do because you talked all that, and you have no idea because you're a virgin. And now you're not a virgin anymore. You're not scared of it anymore. You have experience now. So you go around waving your shit around, waving your little prick around. Hey, come here, girl. Let me talk to you. Chasing them away, And that's my whole thing. Experience God. Give yourself one chance. And if it turns out that it's just not for you, you're not cut from that. It isn't what we tried. If you do decide, and well, there it is. Welcome to the family, and bring somebody else into the fold. What's that old pay it forward statement? You know what I mean? You get good onto you, and you pay it forward to someone else, so good can come on them.
Let me connect the dots so that we can end this discussion and move on. earlier somebody said something about war. I didn't see the comment, so I don't know what they were saying, but I made the remark that if you're in favor of war, you don't know anything about war. Now, I've never been in war, but I've known a lot of people who have. And one of my friends in Seattle called me on the phone one time, and he said, let me explain it. Now, he was a Vietnam veteran, 2 tours, volunteer, Marine, 80 surgeries after he left Vietnam, 80, because of Agent Orange poisoning. He said the best way to think of war is that it is a meat grinder. You take perfectly good human beings, you throw them into the meat grinder, you let it grind. A few of them die, a lot of them come out, but most of them come out changed forever. You can't witness that kind of stuff and not remember. Yeah. And so that's why today so many of our veterans, they come home from war and they commit suicide. And you know, that's a great loss, because these are patriots. These are people that are doing their duty. They love their country, and they're doing what their superiors are telling them to do, but they're getting thrown in a meat grinder. So war is not good. We don't want to engage in war. We want to avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
At all costs. Now, sometimes you got to fight. Okay. I understand that. Sometimes you got to fight.
Yeah.
But don't do it. Don't do it without a debate. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, true. And
I sound like Forrest Gump now. That's all I have to say about that.
That's all I have to say about that. So let's take a comment and then we'll understand. So Boomer says, thank you. I agree. He says people have gotten used to the convenience of things and have been manipulated into trends and normalized it. Also, he says, I firmly and believe and know for a fact that Christ died on that cross for us to show us if we don't change our ways, the end of humanity is on our hands. If the Bible is just a fable book, then Israel, Jerusalem, etc. doesn't exist. Elaborate more on that last comment there. Oh, you're talking about if the Bible is just a fable? Okay, I see what you're saying. Never mind. I think I've figured that out myself. Okay. Yeah, no, like I said, man, it's not our job to shove Christ and God up or down people's throats. Our job is, if we truly believe, we're going to talk about God like you talk about a brand new car. You want people interested in it. You want people excited about this new car that you got. Damn, I want to check it out. You know what I mean? When you have a brand new car, you're not showing it off to your friends in a way that makes them feel like, ah, man, fuck this guy. There goes Doug. Always, yeah, there's a new car. No. You get them excited about it, man. It comes on, and you let them sit in the driver's seat. You even let them drive around a little bit, just kind of get a feel of it. You know, you let them participate, and they feel like, man, they feel part of the car. They feel great, and they're excited about the car with you. And there's no jealousy, there's no hate, because you let them experience it. You gave them a positive experience with the car. You weren't just rubbing it in their faces, and making them feel a certain type of way. You get what I'm saying? And I think that that's how so-called Christians, correctly known as disciples, that's how they should talk about God, to gays, to anybody that's atheist, to anybody that doesn't believe. You shouldn't point fingers and say, you're a heathen, you're a sinner, you're going to hell. Because last time I checked, we're all scummed and scarred and tarnished with sin. I mean, that's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm as good as the next guy, I guess, according to our own egos and who gets to judge good down here. We could be as good as we want to be, but if we're not in the context of what God considers good, it doesn't matter. We fail. So we fail anyway, because no man is good. We're evil and wicked, and we're selfish, and we're full of ourselves and ego and all that.
Hey, speak for yourself, man.
Is that right? So I'm just saying. Now, that said, you do better. You strive to do better. You try to love your neighbor. You know, you don't hate your neighbor because your great-granddaddy said cinnamon-colored people aren't good people. Your great-granddaddy was an idiot. You don't be an idiot because of him. You show him, great-granddad, what the hell was you talking about? I got a bunch of cinnamon-colored friends, you know? Cinnamon sugar it's always gone good together with me. Look at me and Mr. Guest. Look, I'm cinnamon colored. Look at his sugary colored ass. Look at we look good together, man. We are some handsome motherfuckers.
We do. We do work well together too.
And it goes good on a piece of bread toasted with some butter, and he put that cinnamon sugar on there, man. Come on, man. It's so good. They made a cereal out of it called Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's how good it is. Come on.
I'm going to have to go dig some of that up, man. I don't know if that's in my kitchen, but.
You're welcome. So, according to Boomer, if you know better, then do better. That's the problem, isn't it? Nobody wants to do better. They know better. Why? Because people don't want to be responsible. It has to be the devil's fault. It's been that way since the beginning when the woman ate the apple. Well, the serpent made me do it. You knew better. You could have said no. You didn't say no. You let this person talk crap into your head and you made a decision and did it. That's on you. Yeah, that person may or may not have talked crap to you, but you made a decision and ate of that fruit. And as long as that exists, you were wrong. Adam did the same thing. His wife screwed up. All he had to do was go to God and say, forgive her. She made a mistake, man. She messed up. Well, what did you do? I didn't do anything. I didn't touch it. And if he was found innocent, we may have been in a different world today. We don't know. The whole thing I'm saying is it's all about accountability and responsibility. And that's the reason why nothing is going the way we hope that it would go, because it would force people to be responsible. It would force people to be held accountable. And who wants that aggravation? Your thoughts, Mr. Guest. Go ahead.
No, I'm following right along. I agree. People need to take individual responsibility. They need to be good and kind to one another, and not listen to all this media narrative about how much we hate each other. That's just ridiculous. Exactly. Don't buy into that. There's trying to stir up trouble, and we don't need that. We got enough problems.
Yep. And I said that in season 2, season 3 of the Everybody Eats podcast. Racism, yes, it was a thing. But if you really let it be up to people, except the people that cling on to some crazy, twisted rhetoric from yesteryear, most people, for the most part, they could care less. They don't give a shit. Black people, white people, Asian people, who gives a shit? If you're not stepping on my toes, I really don't give a crap, right? Nobody really gives a crap. But here's the thing. I said on season 2 and season 3 of the podcast that the reason why it's still here and still being thrown in our faces is because there's a hidden agenda going on, and they need the excuse to cause the ink cloud from the octopus. They stir up the octopuses to make the ink cloud so that you don't see what's being transported behind the scenes. I believe so. Notice every time everything is going well and nobody seems to give a shit, all of a sudden there's useless killing of blacks in the streets. And then what does that do? It causes some sort of racial tension, some kind of, when they killed that one guy who stepped on a knee on his neck and killed him, and they were killing the one black kid that was jogging in the neighborhood, and he was curious about a house they were building. I guess he was interested, and they killed him. What was his name? Was like Amari or something, and they killed him. And all this useless killing out of nowhere. Where did it come from? No one has ever explained why it was happening. It just kind of happened. Come on, man. I just think a lot of that, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying this. I just think that there's a lot of reason why, and I think it has to do with some hidden agenda that's going on behind the scenes that they don't want you talking about. And we're talking about this racial crap, and we're arguing with one another about black this and black that and Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter and this and that. We're killing each other over that. We're not paying attention to what's happening back here. And if no one's doing anything wrong, why all the secrecy? Why is there an Area 51? Why can't the people know? My whole thing is maybe Area 51 proves that there's a God or something much more than we. Come on. Then we are. God forbid that should ever happen. Because then
the reason there's an Area 51 is because Area 50 got filled up.
Right. I'm just saying, why all the secrecy? Why all the conspiracy? I don't know what you're talking about. And you know, it's every time somebody comes up with something that seems true and they have things to back it up, they're always crazy. And then where do they go? Do people that come out with these truths just all of a sudden decide to take some great vacation and they don't tell anybody? Why do they always seem to disappear? You never find them.
They're sleeping with the fishes. That's why.
You know what they're doing? So all of a sudden you come up with a truth and then you decide you don't want to live anymore. Like, don't you find that funny? I find that weird. But you're sitting there trying to disprove to me that God isn't real. Jesus, just a figment of some book. The Bible's not true. It's been mishandled and books have been taken out and there's been a whole bunch of stuff. You know, that just shows the glory of God. That no matter what they took out of it, no matter what they erased, no matter who they killed, no matter what, the word still stands true. Name any other book that has as much prowess as the Bible. I'll wait. If you say Lord of the Rings, I'll kill you. That book does have some juice. That storyline does have some juice. But no, there's no book that has any juice than the Bible. The Torah, the Bible, anything of that nature, that book. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just trying to tell you. You burn down a house full of cockroaches, and when they put the fire out, the cockroaches leave the house. There's something to be said about cockroaches. What the fuck? You don't leave the house after the house burnt down. You leave the house while it's burning down, before it burns down. They leave the house after they burn down. And they're cussing you out. That was a perfectly damn good house, man. What'd you do that for, stupid? Now we're all homeless. No, but you know what I'm saying? That's my whole thing. Come on, world. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You want to say I'm on some soapbox, some religious soapbox? First of all, don't disrespect me. I'm not a religious person. Secondly, I'm speaking what a lot of people are thinking, because at the end of the day, go ahead and pretend you're good. When we all die, because we're all going to die, there may be people that live past us, but we are going to die, and then they're going to die. But when our time comes to die, right? When it does happen for us to die, a lot of our questions are going to be answered, aren't they? Whether in this flesh or in the spirit, huh? I mean, either way it goes, somebody's going to be right, huh? And then what? When you get there, oh, damn, Mo, hey, Mo was right, man. Hey, Mo, hey, I believe you now. You believe me now? Nah, man, it's out of my hands. Nothing I can do about it. I told you then you had opportunity to do something about it then. You didn't do it. You know what I mean? You sitting there making bottle rockets with Doug, and we weren't paying attention in class. Now your rockets blow up before you light them off. And then you wonder why Doug's is in the atmosphere. Hey, so I have a proposition for you. I'd like for you to strap a camera on one of your rockets and send it as far out as you can possibly go up into the atmosphere, as far as it'll go. Just so we
got to get it back.
Just so we can end the whole thing about the world being flat or round.
Well, go look at my video on YouTube on high power rockets. I did that. We only went up to 3,000 feet, but it's pretty obvious when you get up to that altitude, the world's not flat.
So it started curving?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, flat earthers. Here's my thing. I brought that up because what difference does it make? Who gives a shit if the earth is flat or if it's round? I mean, if it is flat, what the fuck are you going to do about it? You going to get up there, stick a needle in it, and fill it up with air? What are you going to do about it? I don't know why people waste. You hear the shit that people talk about? This is the shit that bugs me, man. This is the crap we talk about. People argue about what gender or what color God was or Jesus or any of that. Like, what the hell? Who gives a shit? Did you get the message? Did you get the story that Jesus, everybody can agree that Jesus was the example of love, right? And what it is to be perfect, right? Then if that's the case, did you learn anything? Who cares what the teacher was wearing in class? As long as it was appropriate, none of his genitalia was showing, nothing, his ass crack wasn't showing. He didn't have a hairy back the hair was coming out of his shirt and shit. He wasn't offensive. Did you learn the lesson? That's what I'm trying to ask people. I can't stand listening to people talk about shit that doesn't matter. Let's take some comments real quick. Let's see. Yes, hidden agenda for sure to confuse the public.
No,
What? I'm reading comments. What do you want?
Mo, had you seen my 11th grade chemistry teacher, you would have been asking the rest of us, what is she wearing today? Come on, man.
Was she hot? I had a 6th grade teacher that I'm still in love with. She made me dress up as a raisin. And I was one of the California raisins. And that woman made me popular in middle school. I wasn't liked very much in middle school because I got into a fight with one David Ramos, who was popular. And people didn't like me at that point. I became a California raisin after that, and I was popular after that. So I thank her, and I thank her for the children that we could have had, even though I was like 10 years younger than her than she. She was 20-something, and I was 12, 13. So she was like 10, 12 years older than me. But that's okay. I was a patient man, and she just had to wait. It's all good. It would have worked out. Anyway, comments. Yes, hidden agenda for sure to confuse the public from the actual truth in the matter of things. From what I can see here, from the trees, religion is man-made, spiritually is not. Research into the NDEs. Yes. Near-death experiences. Yes. Ha ha ha, flat earth is a joke. Look at it from the perspective of an ant. Right? That's a thought. Also, there's a movement that birds aren't real. Yeah, I've been hearing something. I want you to elaborate more on that comment, but I heard something, or maybe you can answer this, that they were saying that birds were created as spy bots type things. They perch. They notice that they perch in different areas, in specific areas, to spy on certain things. I don't know, and that's the shit. And that's so funny that we're talking about all this crazy deception and everything, because that's also in the back of that book that's not real. Why would somebody manipulate a book and leave all the important pieces in it? Take out some important pieces, but leave all the other important pieces in it. Like there's going to be confusion. There's going to be deception. There's going to be an antichrist. There's going to be fire and brimstone. There's going to be rivers drying up and lakes drying up. A lot of that stuff, which is happening today. Huh? Those big rivers and stuff are drying up and everything. Why are government officials, or why are people buying up farmlands? Why is that happening? Why are people buying up property to build underground bunkers and stuff like that? What are you preparing for? The Bible, if you look in the book of Revelations, I forget which segment, talks about that the powers that be and people that have the powers and the wealthy and everything are going to flee underground and flee into caverns and stuff and bury themselves to hide from all this stuff that's supposed to happen. I don't know. Do the research for yourself. Just saying. I'm just bringing up an idea, and then you look it up yourself. Why are they buying up farmlands? Why are they buying up all these lands? They need areas to hide. Or maybe they want the fertile lands for themselves so that they can themselves build crops. We eat the cloned and unnutritious and unnatural stuff while they eat all the organic and nutritious stuff. I don't know. Mr. Guest, your feelings on all this?
All good thoughts. The conspiracy theories are a lot of times not theories. A lot of times it's just somebody starting to figure something out that's going on behind the scenes. I don't think things happen for no reason. I don't think it's that we live in a random world. I think there are a lot of things that are going on that are orchestrated. By whom and to what extent, I don't know. I mean, I'm not part of that club, so I don't know. But if you look at it over a period of time, you recognize that we are just chattel, CHATTLE. We are just chattel, you and me. We don't matter to them at all. So, I mean, what you're saying about get right with what's righteous, that's a good idea on a daily basis. Just, there's no reason to go live your life going down the evil path because you know where it's going to end. You're going to hit a brick wall. Whether that's excessive drug use or alcohol or whatever. Whatever you do in excess is gonna end badly, most likely, unless it's good. I mean, you can be good, but if you're going to be selfish and if you're going to everything is all about you, it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well.
Agreed.
So yeah, I mean, these are good thoughts, and people have to decide for themselves what they want out of life. And life will give you what you put into it. You put a lot into it, it'll give you a lot out. It'll return in spades. But if you sit around and you're a leech on everybody, you're just going to have bad karma and you're going to die early.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my take on everything here. I just feel like that's what's going on. And it's like I said, I'm just sick and tired of hearing people talk about, oh, yeah. Get right with God now. Now that you know something's coming, now you want to get right with God. You had your whole life. You had like I said, a whole lifetime. You've heard it before. You've heard all this stuff before. And you went out and you did what you wanted to do. Now that you think that it's going to end, now you're trying to get right. And I just think that that's pompous and pretentious. And if you give God all the glory that you give God, you think God can't see through that? So why don't you just cut it out and save yourself the bull crap? If you're really on board with it, get on board or get off the bus. It's that simple. Get out of the way. I think everybody should have a fair and equal chance to choose righteousness. And if you don't choose righteousness, then be able to live with be able to live with your choice, whatever they may be.
There's a cost.
Be able to live with what comes with your decisions. It's like I teach my kids. Everything in life has its own reward. You may not like the reward sometimes, but if you do what you're supposed to do, then the reward, you get a good reward. And that's it. And that's all. And I give my kids, you have the right to choose. Yeah, you have the right to choose. But just understand that as you choose and made your decision, I'm going to choose and make a decision. And only one of us will win. Because I'm the rules. I am the law. Okay? It can't be the other way around. Okay? So if you decide something that goes against my will and my rules in this household, there's going to be a consequence and a repercussion for that. Now, yes, you do. It's my right. I get to choose. Okay, we'll choose. But then when I choose, you better be prepared to handle my choice as I have taken on your choice. And that's how I look at it. Let's see. Practice what you preach. If you talk the talk, then walk the walk. Facts. You know what I mean? And that's how I try. That's how I try to live. I try to live. Listen, I tell my kids, if I don't like it when I do it, then I really hate it when you do it. Which means I judge myself all the time. So if I can't stand it when the thing that I'm getting on to you about, if I can't stand it with my own self, what chance do you think you got? not a freaking ice cream's chance in hell. Okay, so that about wraps up my time. But here's the thing. I just want to say that I really appreciate, here we go again, not reading the book. So what I will do is I'm going to read the first 2 sentences of the next story because I would like to start reading. I was also told by an influencer who's a good friend of mine that my podcast isn't it. They love my energy. They love what I got going on, but I do not look professional. I need to start getting the professional look. I need to start conducting myself as an item brand so that I can start getting the traffic that I need to stop relying on personal friends, because personal friends are like the weather. If it doesn't pertain to them, they could care less. And it is true. A man is never king in his own hometown. So I will take up that advice and I will make some changes to my podcast. Look for me. The new movement is called We Want Mo. It's like the Everybody Eats, except it's the platform where we talk about everything and mo. That is it. I am the brand. Look out for that. And we will discuss, and we're going to be a more professional setting. The lighting is going to be more professional. It's going to be more romantic. And I aim to move products. Everybody eat. If you're gonna say I'm a religious person, then that's my religion. Everybody eats. God is my idol, and everybody eats. There it is. I don't want no false idols. I don't want God is. I'm good with God. Anybody else good with God? Ride with me. I'm not going to talk bad about those that don't want to ride with God. All I'm going to say is, we'll see. One of us is right, and one of us is wrong. We'll see. I choose righteousness. I choose goodness. I've chosen Christ as my Lord and Savior a long time ago, and I'm not going to go back on that, because if Christ is what we believe Christ is, the way, the truth, and the life, eternal life, a balanced life, life without death, pain, suffering, racism, hatred, sickness, all that, loss. You know, I hate saying goodbye to loved ones. I hate saying goodbye, period. I love creating memories and stuff like that. And if Christ is the way to that, then I'm on board with that. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And I like feeling like I don't want to do anything stupid and wrong and miserable and be left with guilt and displeasure and unfulfillment. I like when I do stuff, I feel fulfilled, I feel gratified, and I don't feel disgusted because of it or by it. So I leave you with that. I love each and every one of y'all. On behalf of Mr. Guest. Oh, wait, before I go, I did promise. Yes, right, I did. Sorry. I see you. Sorry. I did say that I was going to read the okay, so we're at the end. We're almost at the end of the book. So actually, we were in the middle of chapter 9, I think it was. Chapter 8 or chapter 9. And I think it's chapter 8. Yeah, I believe we're in chapter 8. We're in the middle of it. It was a very long chapter. So this is talking about David and Mary, right? Mary, help me out with the name.
Misty, David and Misty.
Misty Adams. Why did I say Mary? I was thinking of somebody else. The other one, Misty Adams. So I'm going to read just a couple sentences of this paragraph. In the middle, it says, David drank his coffee in relative silence and then left to go back home. He looked in the mirror and compared the numbers on his face with the ones Linda had written on the pad. Okay, I'm going to elaborate a little bit on that. We left off where he has had this fantasy of, he's a photographer, David is. Misty Adams is a well-known actress, very popular, but she's going through a rough time in her career, as she's not so easy to work with. Her beauty is one thing, but her personality is something completely different. Having said that, David is still infatuated with this Misty Adams. He is in love with her, and he's trying to find ways to meet up with her to the point of pretty much borderline, if not stalking her at her gate, looking for excuses to come in as some sort of a delivery person. You name it, he's tried it to get in the gate. He's sitting outside her house. She drives past him. He runs down to try to catch up to her. He loses her. He runs into her at the beach. They have a great time. Now this is a woman that he had no idea how he's going to get in contact with. And now he's skinny dipping with her in the beach, and slept on the beach with this woman all night. Wakes up. She has apparently written her phone number on his forehead. Unbeknownst to him, he begins to itch.
In lipstick.
Unbeknownst to him, he begins to wipe his forehead, not knowing that he's smearing her phone number, until he gets to a diner to get a cup of coffee. A girl who kind of has a bit of a crush on him notices the number on his forehead, and he's about to wipe it off again. She stops and, wait, look. And he realizes, oh my God, it could only be from Misty Adams. And another opportunity that might be lost because he's not careful and he's smudging the number. So now I just showed you that he's looking at the number and he's trying to decipher what these numbers could be. And he's going to run every possible number sequence that he can in trying to get this number so that he can get back in contact with Misty Adams. I leave you there. I thank you so much, guys. You guys have been great. Whether you believe in God or not, I pray God be with you. The Holy Spirit of God be with you. Protect his children, protect all of us, and give us an opportunity to be saved. The end of the world is a celebration for those who are righteous. It is not a time of fear. Who gives a fuck if we get persecuted for Jesus' name's sake? He promised us that we will be blessed if we are persecuted for his name's sake. So I don't care. If you don't like it, too bad. I'm not going to say nothing about you. You don't say nothing about me. I don't say nothing about you. We leave it at that. That's what I believe in. You can go ahead and live in fear and worry of the end of the world to come. I'm not. I am not going to live in fear of the end of the world to come. My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is coming back for his children. My only concern is being one of them. And if I am right, I hope that that's your concern as well. That's all I'm going to say. Believe what you want and be prepared to be either right or wrong, as I am prepared to be either right or wrong in my beliefs. God bless y'all anyway. I love y'all. Mr. Guest, you are the best.
Good night, Mo. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Boomer, thank you so much. Superman, everybody that's tuned in, all the comments. I love y'all. And the next time we will be reading. Look for me. I will find you. Let's go. Story time with your boy Mo. Let's go. I'll see you guys on the other one. Deuces. Or is it like this? Oh, I think it's like this.